Let's go right here. Folks, come here. Where's Corey?
Corey is...
Okay.
Come on, guys, come on.
Corey. Sammy, come up here. Corey. Come up here, please.
Figure out which way you're facing.
Well, folks, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. We know how important it is to make sure that this awful bill, which will hurt millions and millions and millions of Americans, not pass. And we are going to do everything we can inside this building. And we want you, and thank you, and millions of Americans for doing things outside this building, because together we're united in saying that this bill will hurt so many millions of people in so many ways that we will not let it pass. We will not stand for the ruse that they went through today to try and move the bill along. And we are going to fight and fight and fight and fight until this bill is dead. Then we look forward to working with our colleagues to improve health care, to get the premiums down, to get the care better, to make sure that people are covered. But only after this bill is gone can we do that, and we will. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me call on my colleague, Cory Booker, wherever he went, to say a few words.
Go up here. Let leadership come up. Go ahead.
Well, let me first of all just thank all of you. They've been trying to take away health care for tens of millions of Americans since January. 7 months later, we are finally at this point. But we are only together at this point 7 months later because all of you have resisted and stood up to what they are doing. Make no mistake, no matter what version they come up with, this is going to rip health care away from tens of millions of people and raise their costs. It's wrong, and we're going to do everything that we possibly can standing with you to stop it.
Great. Tammy Duckworth, Senator from Illinois.
Listen, everyone. Back there, you see people in wheelchairs, and day after day after day, I've watched the members of the disability community fighting for their lives, every single day. Every one of us loves someone, knows someone with a pre-existing condition, and they will be affected by this bill. People will die, and I'm not going to let it happen. I'm going to do everything that I can. And I want to say to the members of DAP who are in Hart Building today protesting, and I've been protesting day after day, keep it up. Keep it up.
Keep it up. Bernie.
All right, I want to thank Tammy for all of the work she's done, and Chuck and everybody else. This is the most dangerous and destructive piece of legislation ever to be discussed on the floor of the Senate in the modern history of our country. Do not kid yourself when you throw 22 million Americans off of the health care they have. People with cancer, people with diabetes, people with high heart disease. Thousands of those people will die. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Our job is to make sure all Americans have health care, not throw 22 million people off the care they have. Chuck was right. We'll do our job here, but we need millions of Americans from coast to coast to stand up and tell the Republicans, this is America. We are not going to pass legislation that allows thousands to die.
We don't know how they're going to do it, but their agenda is simple. Tax breaks for powerful special interests and unraveling the Medicaid safety net, and we are going to block that agenda cold. 2, Senator Stabenow and I sit on the Senate Finance Committee. And I'll tell you something, we have jurisdiction over Medicaid. We are not going to sit by while they take away the ability of a woman to see the doctor they choose, the doctor they trust. Political change is not trickle down, it's bottom up. And you are that bottom up effort. You got us this far. You have heard from my colleagues. We consider this the most important fight of our lives. We are going to stay with this. We are going to stay at this until we don't go back to the days when you can discriminate against somebody with a pre-existing condition. We are not going back to the days before lifetime limits where the insurance companies could clobber you if you had cancer. This is a simple choice. Are we going to go ahead with a progressive healthcare agenda, or are we going to go back to the days when healthcare was for the healthy and wealthy? We stand with you. We aren't going.
Aloha, everybody. Sadly, we just voted right now on a bill that puts us on a path to repealing the Affordable Care Act, and whatever is to take the place of the Affordable Care Act will toss millions of people off of health care. And whatever replacement they come up with will hurt the sickest, the poorest, and the oldest among us. And of course, I've now joined the ranks of so many millions of people with pre-existing conditions. And, you know, I just saw John McCain on the floor, and he called on us to work together. But you know what? I hope that a rally like this and more all across the country will force the Republicans to get off this really mean, ugly bill and the course that they're on to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And when I saw John McCain, I said, John, you and I are the poster people of 2 people who, within the last couple of months, were diagnosed with cancers. And this is why all of us is only one diagnosis away from a major illness. And we're all in this together. I'm glad to be here with you, fighting the fight for healthcare as a right, not a privilege for only those people.
So I had always hoped that through our combined efforts that this would have been the last vote that we needed to cast, that we would have put repeal behind us. But sadly, on a 50-50 vote with the vice president breaking the tie, we have opened the door to a very intense debate on health care. And let me be really frank about what's going to happen over the next hours and days, is that the Republicans are basically going to be debating whether we take 32 million people's health care away, 22 million people's health care away, 20 million people's health care away, or 15 or 16 million people's health care away. And that is a debate that should never occur in our democracy or our capital. Now, I just want to make a couple more points before I turn this over. As you know, Democrats are in the minority in the House, the Senate. We don't have the White House. We have been dealt out of this debate, but so have the American people. There haven't been hearings. It was drafted in secret. And the only way we are going to succeed on the next series of votes to defeat this is if every American speaks out. and your stories are told and your voices are heard. We are about to move this healthcare vigil a little closer to the steps of the Capitol, but we are asking everyone to hold vigil on those steps of those Senate offices where you can help us get the votes to defeat this. So all over this country, let that word go out. And now I want to introduce my colleague, Elizabeth Warren.
Very good. Healthcare is a basic human right. And we are here to fight for a basic human right. Make no mistake, we have lost an important battle today, but we have not yet lost this war. The Republicans have opened the door to repealing health care for millions of Americans, to raising the cost for millions more. We are here to fight that war. We are here to fight back. We will not be silenced. We will make our voices heard. We will make our voices heard. And right now, we are going to go back to the steps of the Capitol. Do you want to go to the Capitol
Yes.
now? We are going to go back to the steps of the